Hello, Brian.
Hey, what's up, Graham?
How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks, man.
Wonderful. Welcome to Graham Radio.
Thanks.
It's good to have you finally, which is
Yes.
wonderful. So, how long have you been DJing for?
So my history dates back to the mid-'90s, actually.
Really?
So, yeah. Funny story. So, yeah, when I was in high school, there used to be a show on MTV called Yo MTV Raps. This is like way back in the day. And it had two guys, Ed Lover and Dr. Dre, but not the Dr. Dre we know now. It was a different guy named Dr. Dre from New York City. And I was mesmerized by what this guy could do by scratching records. You know, it was my first look at how hip-hop could be made and how you could sample and things like that. So I was like just about to graduate high school, and I went to Radio Shack, picked up 2 turntables and a little Radio Shack mixer, and then taught myself using like my old family vinyl records. You know, scratching records probably I shouldn't have been scratching, you know, because today they're probably been worth a lot more money if they were original and not all worn down. But, you know, I got out to college, started doing some bars, picked up my own equipment from a summer. I saved up all my money from a summer job and before moving out to college, and grabbed myself some speakers. And then it was CDs. So I was actually using 2 CD, like Walkmans, and a mixer to DJ. So it's the wildest thing, man. Just because it was, you know, talking about the equipment then wasn't obviously advanced as it is now, and I didn't have the money to buy like the real nightclub stuff at the time. So just all self-taught.
So while you were doing this, did you have aspirations of being in nightclubs?
Yeah. So the when I got working in the bars at my college town, that's when I really felt like, hey, this is something really cool. I've always been into music. I like the way you can move a crowd, you know, and then you might call it maybe a bit of a power trip, I don't know, but, you know, something like that. But it was cool to see people's reactions when you'd put their favorite song on, and like half the room would go crazy because that's what they were waiting to hear. So,
yeah,
you know, over time, that's the passion that grew in me, like just to have people have a good time has always been something I've been, you know, interested in doing, obviously. So.
You know, I love that you call it a power trip, because it is sort of a double-sided coin. It's like you're the one in power, but you're also the one giving people such a fun such a fun opportunity to dance. You're the one providing the great time. Right. As the DJ, you're the one providing the great time. So you were a college DJ. Yeah.
Originally I started as a college DJ, yeah.
Nice.
And then in the summer breaks, I grew up in northern New Jersey, so we were right outside Manhattan. And again, in the mid-'90s, late '90s, the nightclub scene in New York City was like unparalleled. Some of the most classic and iconic places like Limelight and Sound Factory, Twilo, Exit, the Tunnel, Roxy, just these mega warehouse clubs, and you saw some of the best DJs in the world, in my opinion, at that time, because I didn't know anything different, you know. So it was great experiences, and that's when the house music passion came in. Just by, like, watching and like learning, and I was enthralled by everything. Like, I wanted to know how the lights worked. I met light jocks. I wanted to know how the DJs worked. Like, where'd they buy their records? Because again, then no internet, it was LimeWire. Like, people were ripping music that someone else.
So
recorded.
This is the LimeWire era that we're in right now.
Yep,
okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So very tough to. You couldn't Shazam anything. Like if a DJ was breaking a record, you were like, well, you just had to kind of remember the lyrics. You didn't have a cell phone on you, or smartphone anyway. You know, we had those Nokias where you had to like press buttons to text somebody. It was wild, but
your version of Shazam back in the LimeWire era was pressing buttons on a Nokia cell phone
to try to save a note that you would never save anyway. Yeah, it was crazy. So you had to make an effort to get out and get to the record stores in the city, Manhattan, and meet people. That's the best way to get to know people and music, is just spend an entire Saturday or Sunday in like Decadence or Satellite Records or any of these stores that were in the Village in the city, and you were just taking home vinyl, like physical records. Just sit there all day, just pulling them off the racks, dropping them on the turntables, and just listening for hours and hours and hours. And occasionally maybe Junior would walk in, or some of the bigger New York guys would walk in. You'd be like, oh my God, if you had an opportunity and you put some balls on and you want to walk up and say hi, go for it. Like, there was no internet. You couldn't just DM somebody and say, hey man, you know, you literally had to put the effort in to go in places and see people and say hello and introduce yourself to them.
Yeah, and it's the issue of finding the music, but then it's also the issue of getting your name out there and getting opportunities to DJ in these clubs that are probably extremely saturated.
Yeah, for sure. And then you know, the era where the burning CDs came around. So like you would make a mix. It was live burned because again the audio technology if you fucked up, you just scratch that CD and go back and record a new one. You know.
What does that mean, live burned?
Like so the CD would record in real time as you're playing the mix. So just like you're recording it digitally, but you can go back to a digital recording and edit out anything that you screw up. When you're burning a CD live, it's literally like recording the CD in real time.
Okay.
So if you train wreck or you really didn't like that transition or the song went from A to B was shitty, you stop it, throw it away, start over again.
Oh my gosh, that makes wow.
Yeah. So I mean
that makes everything a lot more expensive.
Right. Yeah, sure, for sure. But again, all techniques that built you and made you who you like. I feel for me, made me who I am today. Like I learned analog, like some of the previous guys we've talked to on the podcast, they learned by vinyl. They learned analog first. They were working on rotary mixers like Uris and Reigns instead of slide mixers like we have today. So wild when I still got my break and started working in New York City in some of the nightclubs, and it was just now you have all these wonderful things in front of you, and that's really where you learn on the fly.
What was your break in New York City?
I was in Staten Island, a place called Element. It was right after I graduated college, and the nightclub's no longer there. I mean, again, this is now we're in the year 2000. So
okay,
right. So Denon had come out with the dual CD players by now, but they were in a rack, so they still had the CD trays that pull out, and you drop a CD in, goes in, and that's how you would manipulate the CD. So the technology was starting to get forward, but we're still using vinyl and CDs. So you'd be rolling into a nightclub with 3 crates of records and just giant CD books, and again, no search function, right? Can't just pull up your computer and type in "Show me John Summit." You literally had to flip. You had to organize your music in your CD book, either alphabetically or by music style or genre, and at the same time, it's pitch black. So you have a flashlight, and you're turning your back to the crowd because there's no room to flip open a CD book in front of you because the equipment's in front of you. So all clubs are built different. So most of the time, behind you were the racks for the records and like tables for your CD books. So you constantly had to turn around. So it was wild.
Did you have a strategy to keep track of your music so that while you were DJing, you weren't blindly looking for things?
Yeah, I had them organized by book. So opening set was a whole book, and then that was like Soulful House, Afro. Things
by book.
That. Yeah, like CD, like the actual CD books, and just pages and pages of CDs. So a giant.
Wait a minute. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, sure. What do you got?
I know.
All right. How's the sound?
Good, very good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Aw, there you go. That's so cool.
Nice.
Right. So, a couple of those.
So it looked like these.
Yeah.
It looked like this.
A couple of these, right? And like I said, when you're looking at it, you open it up, and it's just sleeves and sleeves of CDs, just like you see, right? And then you had to make them white label.
Oh, yeah.
So you could buy someone's actual album, and then, if that's the case, or you white label them, and that's when you're just burning music, just recording. That's your thumb drive. Your thumb drive is 1,000 of these today. You know what I mean? Or your thumb drive today.
So how many of these books would you bring to clubs like Element?
2 or 3. Yeah.
2 or 3 of them.
Because that's your music library, right? So it's like today you have a thumb drive or a laptop, and you could have 5,000 songs in there. That's great. I mean, the technology is fantastic, and that just makes it so much better. But that was your thumb drive.
Right. So would the strategy there be like pick a CD and then you'll know like the best few songs to stay on on that CD, stay on that CD for a while, and then go to another CD. So you'd probably play multiple songs by the same artist like in
Sometimes,
a row. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, but at the same time, maybe not because you need to mix into another CD.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
So, and then one of the tricks that someone taught me back in the days, make the label that you create white, the writing on the label black, and then take a yellow highlighter and highlight the hot tracks on that specific CD.
Okay.
And then the black lighting in the nightclub will help illuminate the CD covers so it's less screwing with a flashlight. Like you can see as I'm flipping through what are the hot ones on this page, because you can't memorize them all. It's like almost impossible to memorize them all. So especially back then, it just had to. The way you organize a library in Ferrito or Rekordbox these days was just done physically in CD books, back then.
So What was the first piece of equipment that you got that completely made all of this unnecessary?
Yeah, the Pioneer CDJ 400s. And they were standalone CD decks that would do it. No, not even close to what the 3000s do today, right? But they were pioneers, I think, first or second release on having an individual CD deck that has a jog wheel, skip functions, loop functions, a couple of sound effects built in. I still have them, you know.
And why did they completely change the game? Like, what did they do that made having gigantic CD books unnecessary?
Yeah, well, the CD still had to come. It's just that that was the equipment that I was super proud to have on my own. And then I started doing mobile gigs and things of that nature. So that was the first step to me opening up my own mobile business and doing weddings and Sweet 16s and things like that.
So I want to pivot here a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
You're telling me all about this, like, DJing and CDs and this and that, but I also know that you have a corporate job.
Oh, yeah.
So during this time, while you're in nightclubs, Element, you're highlighting the hot tracks off of your white label, black Sharpie discs, are you also, like, gearing up for, like, some sort of 9 to 5?
Yep. Ever since I graduated school, I went right into working in Manhattan. So that was easier because if I was already in Manhattan, it was easier to go out in Manhattan. Coming home was a little rough because you'd be coming home at 4 in the morning and turn around and go right back to work at 9 the next day.
What exactly were you doing? So you graduate college and you're DJing, but meanwhile you're gearing up for a corporate gig. Like, what specifically are you, like, where are you taking the subway to? What job did you have?
I was working for an advertising company at the time right out of school, and it would be a bus ride from Jersey to the Port Authority, subway ride over to Lexington and 3rd, and then walk 6 blocks. So my commute every morning was like 2.5 hours.
Okay.
With all the traffic and all the...
And what did that lead to?
9 to 5, right? And then 5 o'clock whistle come out. Depending if I was working in Staten Island or not that specific night, I would stay in the city and then take a ride into Staten Island and go right to the nightclub and then go home and then do that all over again. But if it wasn't a night I was working, I would just go home. And then I didn't start working in New Jersey until I started in New York first before starting DJing at spots in New Jersey. So it took a little bit, actually. But eventually I let the New York stuff go. And then I stayed home, like I stayed closer to home when I started working in the areas around my house.
And throughout your whole life, you've always had like a 9 to 5, and you've also always had like a DJ passion, a DJ professional passion. So like one thing that I personally struggle with, and I feel like a lot of people struggle with, is this. You know, my 9 to 5 pays for what I love doing.
Right.
It pays for, you know, my being able to have a roof over my head. It pays for my DJ stuff.
Right.
Like, it, you know, it allows me to like have a lot of fun with like friends and loved ones. Sometimes I feel like if I were to completely stop DJing, I would be able to just absolutely crush my career.
Yeah.
And then I also feel like if I were to stop my career and just focus full time on DJing, it would take a lot of sacrifice.
Yeah.
But I could absolutely crush my DJ career.
Yep.
So like, it makes me want to pick one of the two. But the thing is, I love both of them, and I love my life.
Yeah.
So like what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I share the same feeling with you. It's a little bit later in life for me to have that switch. I mean, if you're really, truly passionate about it, I could give up my corporate job. But I have a family, and I've always been in the corporate world. I enjoy what I do on a daily basis. I've been in the same field for 20-plus years, and then DJing for 20-plus years. So at this point in my life, I work 7 or 8 gigs in a month, max, over a 30-day time frame, right? And that's great to fulfill the passion need that I have. Like, it's an itch. I tell my girlfriend all the time, I think I'm going to hang it up, and then I go and play, and I'm like, nah, I don't want to hang it up yet.
It's so fun.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So it's more of a fun and enthusiastic thing for me. I don't do it often, so I don't get overkill. I respect totally for the guys who make this their full-time job every week, and they're doing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gigs in a week. Great for them. Like, I support everyone who's down here. When I first moved here, I made it a point to like go out and just talk to people, see who's who, check out all the different places, you know, get to know like Old Dirty Sundays. Great place to go on Sunday night, right? Love Casper and the whole thing, Deacon that got going on there, Fader.
We should, oh, by the way, hi, Amanda.
Hi.
Hey.
We should do Old Dirty Sundays one of these days.
Yeah, we should.
Like, yeah,
that sounds like fun.
It does sound like fun.
Right. And then, back in the day, whatever, mega clubs were here, Amphitheater, Ritz, District 3, like that was the house scene. And then I mean, I've been here now 12 years in Tampa, so the changes overall from what it was then to now, and all these new places, all the fancy places now, and it's great. Like, I think this is a great place to live, great place for the scene. I feel there's a bunch of people out here who are super talented, like people more talented than I ever met, and I go out and I still get wowed by them, you know. So, I don't want to name drop, but if you want me to, I could.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Flacco, Coup. You know, you want to hear an amazing hip hop live set in a mega, at Tangra, go see Coup, right? You want a total tutorial and expertise on the way you can mix multiple genres together. Go see Flacco on Sundays in the Armature, the AW thing, and he's DJ anywhere is great. And then Casper, Fader, Deacon, Sunday nights if you want hip hop. So you can go in different places, and then house music, all the guys over at Late Night Flights, all incredible. Yeah, and then there's so many more, but yeah. When I first got here, the first person I met, we're at Caddy's. This is like in the first 3 weeks I moved here. We were at Caddy's, and DJ Fresh, a guy out of St. Pete, was playing, and walked right up to him. Hey man, new in town. Tell me what goes on. And I didn't realize who I was talking to at the time. Like, Fresh is an icon down here, not just so much a DJ, but also an amazing business. Man, what he's done for him and his family, and the business he's built around Fresh events or whatever. One of my closest friends today. He actually DJed my wedding when I got married.
Oh wow!
So yeah, so it's been cool. Like this was saying, it's for up and comers. Some of the best advice is don't expect anything right when you get started. You got to go out and learn. Like, you got to take a peek, get out there, find different places, find the flyers. You never know who you're going to run into, and then don't approach someone maybe on the first day. Let's say hi. Get them to know your face, come back maybe once or twice, then approach them afterwards. Hey, man, been here a couple of times, love what you're doing. Let me introduce myself, things like that. So yeah, I think that's a good way to approach it when you're first getting going.
I just want to say I love how you just said that, because such a great piece of advice is go out, like physically go out.
Yeah.
But like you took it a step further and you said, like, first time out, let them know your face.
Yeah.
But then, like, don't immediately approach them and say, hi,
right.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm someone who you should give an opportunity
to.
Yeah. Like, I think that when you go out, it's important to let yourself be known, but just let yourself be known.
Yep. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And even if you meet someone the first time at night, I don't find any problem with dropping them a note the next day. Hey, man, caught you last night at Emberd. Thanks for saying hi to me. Love the set. Hope to see you soon. Like, just open a door in that sense. Mm-hmm. And then you could follow up next time you see him out there, or keep an eye on him. And again, if that's someone you like and he seems approachable, great. In my opinion, I think everyone's approachable down here. It's just, you got to catch them at the right time.
Exactly.
You can't, in the middle of the set, it's not the time to come up and say, hey man, what's going on? Because my brain's in a million different places. But
yeah, it also shows me that you don't know what the hell you're doing.
Right. So
if you come up to me during a set and say, like, anything other than hi.
Right.
It's like no.
Yep.
That makes. I've asked some people this. How do you handle requests? Like when people come up to you and ask you, to play a certain song.
It's a great question, man. So again, putting 20 plus years into, hey, there's a lot goes into
a lot of requests.
In the beginning, I'm definitely going to say I was an asshole. Like, I was young. I was in my mid 20s. I'm like, nah, man, I'm good. I didn't realize the impact that could have, because that one person can go and have a bad taste about you, and then immediately spread some bad news, and it could affect your career. Like, I didn't put two and two together back then. Right now, you say with the social media and stuff, it could go down real quick, right? What I say now, and it's trade secret, I guess, I'm letting out here like my own personal thing, but great request. Let me see if I can work it in. I'll let you know, something like that, or keep an eye out for it. If you don't hear it in a few songs, come back and hit me up. And it really just depends on what they're asking for and where. Because if it's at a certain place that's set for a certain type of genre, and you're coming up and asking me to play something that's outside that genre, then I have, unfortunately, there's a type of music that management likes played here that doesn't fit the genre, so I can't play it. I apologize. Mm-hmm. And I just leave it at that. Just try to be respectful. But if it's a place that's open format and it works, like PCI, you'll get a lot of requests. But that's fine. It's PCI, and like I said, if it works, it's going. I don't mind.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I say a lot is if I don't have the song, I'll let them know. Thank you so much. Wow, I wish I had the song. I don't have the song. Next time, come back and see me, and I'll have it.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I thought that one.
That's a good one too. But yeah, that's really smart.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll just say no. Please go away. Yeah, yeah. I'm still early in my career.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's just it's okay to say no too. And they almost get a little bit offended, you know, because that's weird to me.
Sometimes you can be as nice as possible, but people are still going to be offended.
Yeah.
Like, here's a perfect example. I was DJing. I'm not gonna say where. It doesn't matter where. And it was more open format, but kind of like sexy house, you know.
Okay.
And this woman comes up to me and she's like, "Play Salt and Pepper." And honestly, that's a great place to play Salt and Pepper. Like that venue happens to be like, yeah, that would be perfect. And I love Salt and Pepper, but I just genuinely don't have any. And I was like, oh, like I wish I had that. I don't have it. And she gave me the look like, what do you mean you don't have Salt and Pepper? It's on my phone. I have it on Spotify. Yeah, Can I just connect?
Right. That's my favorite one. Can I connect the phone? I'm like, no.
Yeah. And you know,
how did that end up? So does she actually want to connect her phone to your stuff?
Well, she got pissed.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I had to transition the song.
All right.
And it's like, sorry, hold on.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's my favorite when they come up right when you're trying to, you know, put two together.
Exactly.
A plan, and you got to give me 1 second. And they're like, what's the matter? Like, I'm working. You know, I'm not walking into your job and asking you something. You know what I mean? I love that. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah, there's And you know, right now, an excuse that DJs can give if they don't have a song is like, oh yeah, like we don't have the song, like, and connect to. Then the patron says, can I connect to Bluetooth? And you say no. Pretty soon, we're not gonna be able to say that.
Yeah, right.
Because the Opus Quad has Bluetooth connectivity.
Right, and the A9 does now too, right?
Does it?
The mixer that Pioneer came out, the A9.
Oh my, we're
it's got a little antenna on the back. I think it's Bluetooth.
But and you know what that makes me think? Okay,
Wi-Fi, not Bluetooth. It's Wi-Fi. My bad.
Conspiracy time.
Yeah.
So in the next like 5 or 6 years, maybe Beatport will be put out of business because if Spotify makes a deal with like Pioneer, then we can just use Spotify's entire library with Wi-Fi on our DJ stuff.
Yeah. Well, you know that's available now, right? It just came out.
Really?
Yeah. The 3000s have a firmware upgrade that allows you now to, with the Wi-Fi connection, you can play right out of the library.
Really?
Oh, wow.
I have 3000s.
Oh, okay, cool.
Wait, so the conspiracy that I just said, it's not 5 years away. It's here right now?
Yeah, it's, there's a certain program. It's Beatport. You could connect right into Beatport's library, and you have their entire. You got to pay a monthly subscription because you can't obviously just play music for free. And then it saves it in your Beatport account as a item played. You're not purchasing it. You're just playing it from their library.
Yeah.
But then you can go back and purchase it, then you own it, right? But you pay a monthly subscription to have access to their entire library, and then just use the search functions when you link in, and then you can pull up any song that you want.
Oh, I'm gonna figure that out. Oh, that's coming soon to Graham Radio.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, that. Thank you.
Breaking news. Yeah.
Breaking news. Yeah. The future is now.
The firmware update just came out maybe a week or two ago. So yeah, take a peek at it.
Is that the firmware update that you were just talking about?
Yeah. It's it then grants you out of the Beatport thing. I forget what it's called.
So wait, babe, does all that music you just bought, does that mean that?
Yeah,
you just spent so much money on music.
I just spent like $400 on music.
Oh, babe. And you're,
I don't want to kill them.
But it's still, but for now, it's still superior to have the music.
Yeah, I mean, you have the music forever now. But
like
Beatport streaming comes to the CDJ 3000. Released in June. Beatport streaming is now available within the industry standard CDJ 3000s, putting streaming at the heart of the world's top clubs. And hearing how to access. So the articles are out there.
That's awesome, though.
Oh, lovely. Can you text that to me?
Yeah, sure, man.
Yeah, I'll put a link up on the Graham Radio story.
Yeah, it's called Beat Portal. That's what they named it.
Oh, wow. It's a whole thing. Yeah. Beat Portal.
Yep.
Oh, my gosh.
That's so cool.
Oh, that's great. How long have we been going for?
29 minutes.
20 minutes? Okay, yeah, we'll wrap up soon.
Okay.
So,
there you go.
I think that I'm hot shit because I handle, like DJing and also a corporate job.
Right.
But I don't have like a family to support.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do it all? Because like, you're out there gigging, you have your corporate job, and you have like, you have at least one kid, right?
Yeah, just one son, yeah. So I'm not the only one. I mean, there are plenty of people out there too, but it's just a balance. Like you have to figure out where your priorities lay, and family will always come first. And to support that family, corporate job will always come first. Currently in my situation, like where I am in my life. So as I said earlier, I don't know if I'd ever give up the corporate to to pursue DJ as a full passion now, because my time window and my enthusiasm to it for that avenue is probably closed. But I still enjoy doing it. I have a great time doing it. I make sure I put 100% into every time I have a gig, and just on a smaller scale. And that's why I have the choice places where I like to work. And I also, again, respect all the people who are doing this full time with kids, because that's a tough one, man. If you're working at 3 o'clock in the morning and stuff like that 4 nights a week, and you're trying to manage a family. So for me, I work every other week as a DJ, maybe once or twice. On weeks I don't have my son in my custody agreement. So, and then the weeks I have my son, it's just me and him, and we do our own things together. So there's over time and years, you've just managed like family job, DJ, and then social events and things of that nature.
What does your son think of your DJing? I mean, what is he, 9 years old?
He's 9.
9 years old. He must think that you're
He's learning to play the violin. We had him in drums. So another key thing I think is a good piece of advice is if you're getting into DJing, you should learn how to read sheet music, in my opinion. You should play an instrument if possible, or at least learn how to, but don't have to be a savant at it. But it helps with timing and keys. Like, again, I learned by ear, so I hear the different keys in music. I hear the different beats. I don't need to look at like 3A, 2A, 5A, like the grading on the keys in Serato and the CDJs. So I think that helps, like doing a little bit of that extra work, make you better at it on the fly.
So what other general pieces of advice can you give to DJs?
We talked about this a little earlier. Another thing is get your hearing checked. Make it 2 times a year. Keep your hearing up. Again, in my opinion, the instrument is your ear. Today's world has become the eyes. You see like Serato face, and everyone's looking in. Even now, it was the laptop for the longest time, but now even with the thumb drives and the size of the screens just keep getting bigger and bigger on all the players, and everyone's just down and in, or like you got to learn to peek and look up. Like you're there to interact with the crowd, so practice that. Learn how to look down, scroll real quick, get to what you got, and then refocus on the people in front of you. That's, I think, a key point, too. Don't get stuck in just scrolling through your library looking for the next track, because you're going to, in my opinion, you lose the vibe. Don't put the laptop right in front of you for, like, the setup where it's on a stand and it's blocking your face. I think that's – some people do it because they like having it right in front of you, but I suggest putting it over to the side if you're working off a laptop. This way you can work, and then you have a clear operating space in front of you.
Yeah.
And then back to the hearing check thing. With the ear being your instrument, wear earplugs if you're going out and you're not working. Even in certain places, go to a concert, wear earplugs. You're at the Ritz, wear earplugs. Help your hearing out. These have been beat up for 22 years now. With headphones like right on them, and a monitor on one side, a headphone on the other. Like I'm probably not gonna be deaf in a few years. Hope not. But
have you? Has a doctor told you that your hearing has gone down
over the 22 years? Yeah.
Oh yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's constant. And that's what I'm saying. For the guys who do it 7 days a week, even more suggesting that get out there and get your hearing checked. Because at least it gives you an idea where you're at, and then maybe invest in in-ear monitors over the cups.
Are in-ear monitors better for you?
Yeah, because they allow you to not have to have them up so loud, and then depending on how you set up your mixing cues, they work a lot better, and they'll help maintain your hearing a little longer.
Really? I've never considered that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, they're expensive too. If you want to get the ones molded to you could buy standard ones that may fit, but if you're gonna do it, pop the couple of $100 and get them molded. And then that's the big, because then it's molded to the inner ear, and it obviously blocks all the outside noise, and then keeps it just, you don't have to turn them up so loud. It helps out. Yeah.
Wow, that's great advice that I've never heard before.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, get your hearing checked, and if you can, get in-ear monitors.
Yep, if possible. Right, and
nice.
Again, it's over time. You gotta learn how to save. You got a gig to earn the money to buy more gig. That's the constant.
To buy more gear.
Yeah, gear. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and then or music or anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, maybe not music for much longer.
Right,
yeah.
True.
Well, this has been wonderful.
Yeah, man.
I think you have a DJ set to DJ.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Ready to go.
Yeah, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, wonderful. For the listeners, I love you. Peace. Cool.
That was great.
That was great. Yeah, that was great.